We received nothing via email as far as any comments. All right, then we'll move on to the consent agenda. Everybody has had a chance to look at the meeting minutes from March the 10th. If anybody has any questions, comments, or corrections, otherwise I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, Lewis.
Second, Venker.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, on to reports of officers and committees. Do any of the commission members have anything that they'd like to bring up? I do have one thing from our last meeting. We've discussed sending a letter to the county executive about the survey that the county had put out about ARPA funds and trying to replace portable radios for first responders throughout the county. We've got a draft letter that has been put in your packet. Just wanted to get everybody's consensus before we send that onward. Does anybody have any comments, any questions?
I saw the letter. I thought it was perfect and in keeping with what we're trying to accomplish.
Yep. Oh, hello, Chief. How are you, sir?
Hey, sorry I'm late getting here, man, but another meeting, but you guys know how that is.
Absolutely. All right. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So if there's no objection, we'll go ahead and submit that letter as we were requested to at the last meeting. So moving on, nothing to report from the governance committee, budget committee. Ms. Finker?
Nothing to report at this time.
All right. Very good. We're moving efficiently along. Executive director's report. Mike?
Just a reminder, if you guys' mics aren't on, to turn them on. But, okay, good. Just making sure. That way people on the WebEx can hear us. All right. Well, happy opening day. Thanks for joining us. Financials are in the packet. 2,800, 5,800 funds are there, and nothing out of the ordinary to speak to. The funding from our sales tax, those numbers from February that show up in April are not in the packet yet. You don't usually get those till about the 10th. So as soon as we get them, Shannon will send them out to you via email. The 1% and 3% are in the packet. This is the first time this year I've had those numbers because they usually trail the month we're in. You can see the 1%, we've got returns from January and February. And the 3%, they tend to pay quarterly or whenever they feel like it. And they did pay $57,000 back in March. So it kind of gives you a quick snapshot of those numbers. Looking at them, they look to be on pace for probably the same, or around the same as last year. Any questions on any of that? Not. I'll just move into our project updates. Don't have a lot to talk about, but I'll make it quick here.
I'm sorry, Matt.
Good, Matt's back. Okay.
Yeah, I'm back.
We got everybody now. Let's just get her on your phone and set it up here. We can go that route.
Thank you.
Matt, can you hear me okay?
Yep, perfect. Thank
Okay.
you.
So sirens, our test was Monday. We had a couple of complaints that were pretty interesting for a change. We had a major business along the Fenton 44 corridor letting us know that they couldn't hear the sirens inside. And while that's not really what we're aiming for, they apparently had heard them in the past. So we'll check that out and see if we need to take any further action. Same thing with a caller from around Lackland and Craigshire. There's a little strip business down, I think, in there. And they said kind of this, well, she actually said she hadn't heard them and wanted to talk about this for years. And it was just now reaching out that apparently they're very, very weak there. Of course, I mentioned getting an indoor weather alert monitor for the business, but we'll definitely sit somebody down there with a sound meter and we'll check it out. maybe that's a spot we need to enhance with another siren. Moving on to GIS. So our PSAP boundary legislation that we put before the county council was finally passed this 2 Tuesdays ago. So not this Tuesday, but so I think at this point it's in the hands of the county executive. We just wait for a signature and then we'll get an ordinance number and we're able to move forward with that. That's the one that gives us the ability to talk to other PSAPs and other surrounding counties where we share borders and make adjustments that are agreeable between the parties. On our network side, ball game. So I guess I'll speak for it. But our Genesis project, that's the orange button radio finder. That project is complete. It's all been deployed, training's complete. So all the PSAPs now have full access to that brings. Now, it's a little early. We haven't had any feedback really as to if it's been effective or who's really using it a lot, but it's there. And if somebody hits the orange button, they're going to get a blip on the radar telling them who that radio is and where they're at. So we'll just kind of, not something you want them to have to use a lot, but hopefully we'll hear some stories about its use. In our charter replacement, we completed phase 1, which was putting a bunch of equipment out of the PSAPs to kind of divide up some network equipment. Our phase 2 is completely the idea of replacing charters circuits completely. We've got both fiber and microwave RFPs that are being written or in the process, almost done being written. We hope to review them the next couple of weeks and get them to procurement, hopefully by the end of the month, so they can look them over and then we can get them on the street. Only other thing under the network, we're looking at some, our microwave network is Nokia. They've got their own network monitoring software package that they'd like to sell us, and it's a little on the pricey side. So James and his team have been looking at some third-party software and coming up with some other ideas to see if we can do something a little more economical. And I think they've settled on something they like, and I know they're going to be looking at going out and pricing for that, and then we'll do what we have to do with procurement to see if we can get a hold of that. Radio side of the house, kind of business as usual, but Ed's guys have been going out and dealing with putting AES encryption in all the police radios across the board. The project's been going on for some time. He had always told you all they'd be getting done in April. Looks like we're still on target for that. Probably by the end of the week or next week, they'll be just going back and hitting the ones that they missed. The next big programming will be for the fire departments. The way that works is we wait on the fire departments to get us new fleet maps, and then these guys build the code plugs. And I think we're still waiting on those fleet maps. But I believe Chris McCarthy is heavily involved in that.
Yeah, they were trying to cut down the number of fleet maps to just a few that we can all share. So
Good. Simplify. With Shrewsbury PD and Bridgeton PD both coming to County PD for dispatch, we will have to make some adjustments in a separate phase of programming for the PD radios, because obviously once they were rolled out, we didn't have that taken into account. You already mentioned the letter. I had that to mention. So unless you have questions, that's all I have on those parts of our business. I'll leave next gen. I'll have David and Lucas give us an update in his report. If you don't have any questions for me.
no questions for Mike. Let's go ahead and move
Mike,
on
in that
to.
matter, Mike, I can hear me.
Yep, I hear you.
That letter to Dr. Page, was that some of the requests that was put in through the public on their surveys for ARPA money?
Yes, sir. The about 55 different agencies, both law enforcement and fire filled out those surveys. They were the survey was kind of a free form survey, so you could really wordsmith and say whatever you wanted to say. So those 55 for sure all gave me copies of what they had sent so that we were aware. So yes, they quite a few of them filled them out. That's not obviously all our agencies, but it's a pretty good turnout for the task.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
I do have one comment just for Mike, for you and your team. It's relative to the letter and what Chairman Brown's working on. I just want to give you guys kudos for your work on that and us going forward. You guys are taking the lead on this issue, and I think it's important for the ECC to be at the forefront of that issue because of what it involves. But I just want to give you guys a lot of credit and you and your team for your openness to working through this and helping all of the agencies out and all the emergency first responders. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking that upon yourself, and keep up the good work with that.
Appreciate the help and appreciate your comments. Thank you.
All right. So let's move on to consultant reports. You said David Lucas is on the, all right, David.
Thank you, sir. Just an update on two items. We closed out the state grant, which enabled us to, they assisted us with getting our text to 911 hooked up. So those have been connected to the two data centers and tested. We will be rolling out individual testing at the PSAPs here next month. Additionally, the Next Gen project, we are still online for our acceptance testing of the data centers the week of May 10th. So that's still on our schedule. That'll be the week of your next meeting. And so in the meantime, Josh and the Comtech team have been going to individual PSAPs to double check and refine the equipment at those sites. So as of right now, we're on the schedule for testing on May, which keeps our rollout of the individual PSAPs June and July.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Anybody got any questions for David? We got any other consultant reports we need to go through, Mike? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to old business. Under old business, we have the EMS Hospital User Group representation.
Got a little Excel sheet, looks like this. With Chief Brown's help, the EMS Hospital User Group kind of met this week and kind of got refocused and reformed. They hadn't met in quite a while. There'd been some people fall away from the crowd. So I think we got we got about seven or eight there represented between hospitals and EMS, fire protection districts and such. So they met this week here in our building, elected officers, which are all listed there. And we just need for you all to vote to approve this listing.
I'd make a motion to approve, Lewis.
This is Matt. I'll second the motion.
Okay, we've got a motion in 2 seconds. Any further discussion on the list? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the list for the EMS Hospital User Group signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. All right, motion carried. Moving forward, any further old business, Mike? None listed? All right, moving on to new business.
So again, in your packet, there is a request from Chief Schaeffler with Baldwin Police Department. I don't know if you had a chance to read this. I may have gotten it to you kind of late. Basically, they are requesting one radio dispatch console be installed in their new station that's currently, I think they're currently building it. They expect to open it spring of 2023. It's being built with a fourth position in mind. Today they have three. We haven't ever taken in a request like this and approved it yet. We've done it with 911 equipment. We have not done it with radio equipment. Typically in the past, we'd have conversations about call volume on the call side. On the radio side, I guess it would be, dispatch call volume. The thing to remember with the radio side is they're still only using one talk group to do all their work. So if you have 4 or 5 people, they're still all trying to use the same resource, unlike phones when there's multiple calls coming in. It's a little bit different story. So not suggesting we go any particular way. We may just want to gather more information and look at it.
How many consoles are we looking at coming back? Do
I
we have
think
any idea?
with the 2 that we will get back from Bridgeton, we'll have 7.
Okay.
Typically, we try to take those, especially radio positions, and jam them into our backup and put them to use. But we don't have the physical room right now to do that unless we redesign things or got some different furniture, which we are talking internally about. So after Bridgeton, is there 7? Is that right? Okay. And we do have policy for this, but I meant to throw that in here. I apologize. I didn't get it in there. You know, typically if there's a consolidation, the consolidating, the surviving or whatever we call it, the dispatch center that's taking on that business via policy has the ability to ask for that equipment since they're taking on an extra workload. That's right here in the building, and I'm not sure that at this point, I haven't heard anything from them.
Well, how about if we do this, Mike, and see if this is acceptable to everybody? Why don't we give you and your staff some time to look and see how many are out there? We know we've got 1 request, so, they'd be first in line. And I heard St. Anne has apparently talked to Ed. So why don't you guys get the information together, come back with a recommendation on how to proceed. So we're, doing the best we can with what we got to spread this out.
And if I could ask, and because I'm not familiar with a lot of this stuff, number one, we're saying we have 7 excess that would be available if they were requested by agencies. What's the cost to the ECC? What is the cost borne by us as an organization to allow them to have those? Is there any ongoing costs or any type of, do we have any liability by giving them this equipment in terms of maintenance and upkeep and things of that nature?
We keep the same liabilities we have today. Those consoles that are out there today are the property of the ECC. Basically, they take possession of them and put them to use. They're all under a maintenance contract today, so it really doesn't change the numbers. And as far as the install goes, by policy, that's on the receiving
The agency. Very good.
And any electrical changes they need to make to accommodate it, any grounding they need to do, needs to meet this is all in the policy basically. So they take on that cost.
Okay. Is there,
We've done it with the radio, the telephones as well.
is there any reason why we would want to have X amount of held back for the betterment for the ECC in general? Is there a reason we have 7? Is there a reason we need to hold 2, 3, 4? And you don't have to answer that now. Just when we talk about this next time, I'd like to know, we come first, or at least your needs come first. And then if there's extra, I wouldn't see why we wouldn't part those out to organizations.
Right. Yeah. We could come back with a recommendation of keeping a couple for spares or whatever we decide that is. We'll talk to Motorola and we'll talk internally and come up with something. Just like the 911 positions, they don't do us any good sitting in a closet, not being updated. So there is some value to have them actually
On the
operate.
street. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So I will bring that information to the next meeting.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
Do we also need to put a feeler out to others? Is that, or is it, do they know just to contact if they need assistance?
Usually, and I say usually, if there's a need out there, I'm the first one to know.
Got it. Okay.
But
That's fair.
if we were to put feelers out there, I'm sure
Would you get a whole bunch of requests?
you might get more than,
I was going to say, I would be hesitant to
Do that, yeah.
make the offer, especially pending knowing how many we're going to have available. You've been reached out to by at least 4 requests.
yeah.
Yeah. So
No, that's fair.
Right.
Right.
But, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll bring that back the next meeting.
Sounds good. All right, you got a item 2 there, approval from Columbia, Illinois Fire Department.
Yeah, another, just need you all to approve it. Columbia, Illinois Fire Protection District Chief reached, this is in your pack as well, it's just an email. Had reached out to Melville, who they quite often assist, and asked for the okay to use their fire, the talk group. What is it in there? I don't even remember what it was. Thank you. Central County South Talk Group. And that went to the fire group. They approved it. And it went to the ops group. They approved it. So it's really just an, unless you all have issue with it, it's a formality of asking you all to approve it.
Let one of the fire guys make that motion.
Make a motion that we approve.
Okay, we got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Yeah, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. All right, motion carried. All right, our next meeting date is tentatively scheduled for May the 12th.
Chief, I have a
Yes, sir. You have it. You have an
little
add-on?
issue with that again.
Yes, sir.
I will not be in the country May 12th. So we'd like to move it up a week or back a week. I know up a week is May 5th. That is Cinco de Mayo in some places. So I don't know.
Where
Just
you're
ask.
going to be? Is it Cinco de Mayo?
You know what? It will be. I'll think about it.
Maybe you should move your vacation up.
Does anybody have a problem with moving it up to May the 5th? Any conflicts?
I don't have a problem. It was Matt.
That's fine. Chris is fine.
Good.
Steve, Deanna? Chief Gregory, you think that'll work in your schedule, sir?
That'll work for me.
All right, so can I have a motion to move our next meeting to May the 5th?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. All right, motion carried. May the 5th it is, Mike. Have fun on your vacation. All right. If no one has anything else to bring before the commission, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion
This
to
is Matt.
adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, we're going to give Deanna the motion to adjourn, and Matt, we're going to give you the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign, and we'll stand here on dead air. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great month. See you
Thanks,
next month.
guys.